Problem solving situation number 1. Remember that we're not looking at full scenarios here, we're just looking at truncated situations just to give ourselves a feel about what we're doing in terms of problem solving. Remember, what we're trying to do is to give good solutions. In order to do that, we need to produce it in a professional way that is clearly understood. We'll always be trying to truncate it into short term, the long term, and thinking around the next steps, and making sure we involve the role actor in that decision making wherever possible, and also thinking how we might be able to use the role actor wherever possible. Let's look at situation number 1. Okay, so we've learnt that there's youth antisocial behaviour. In Weatherford we have a rather deprived area called the West End Estate, and in that location there's a row of shops, and in this situation we find that we've got teenage boys who are gathering around the shops causing a nuisance. That includes graffiti and being rowdy and abusive towards customers. Our role actor is a concerned trader who says there's been little police interest so far, that now trade is being badly affected. Older customers are just simply not coming out in the evening, and it is affecting trade, and it is having an impact on the community as well as the traders. So let's see how we might lay out our response. We'd first of all talk about, in the short term, clearly this is a role for police. We have an enforcement role, and what you as the candidate will do first of all is to review the investigations that have been conducted so far, see what crime is recorded, have we done a good enough job, does it give us clues about who are the main culprits and what can we be doing about that. There's very clearly also a policing role in reassurance. We want to maintain and increase the public's confidence in policing. An immediate way we can do that is by offering support through high visibility patrols. That might well be through the neighbour policing team, using PCSOs and special constables within a patrol plan. Also making early contact with traders as individuals, or if there is a traders association meeting as a group, in order to explain what we intend to do and to seek more information and the views of those most affected. That would therefore also lead us to speaking with the community, especially those most vulnerable groups. Is there a nearby residents association? Is there nearby elderly residents housing where we can speak to people as a group more easily? Within neighbour policing, key individual networks come to the fore. We might think about Neighbourhood Watch. We might think about local action groups. And clearly, we also need to start raising awareness more generally throughout the community, A, about the problems, and secondly, and B, around what we're going to be doing about it. In the longer term, we're going to be looking at what partners can be doing to help. In problem solving, the emphasis is usually more heavily about policing in the short term, moving into partners in the longer term. The reason we do that is because we are more short-term oriented an agency. So clearly with youth antisocial behaviour, one of the key activities is to increase diversion, contact with those youths, not just through enforcement, but also in terms of trying to find out why are they hanging around that location. In time-honoured fashion, usually it's because there's nothing else to do. So at that point we can look at the youth service, trying to develop alternatives that will interest those people. Usually when we try to do that, there are funding issues. That can't be allowed to be a barrier, and so then, as police managers, we quite often get in the role of helping to try and attract funding towards a project in order to help in the longer term resolve our issues. One such opportunity you'll have for the exam is the Crime Reduction Partnership. Raising awareness continues to be important, not just about what the problem is, but hopefully as the solutions come through and improvements are achieved, to make sure people know that. Part of that process of achieving successes will of course involve getting into schools, making those young people aware of the impact that they're having, and of the consequences there may well be of them continuing to offend. Pact. Partners and communities together, in some parts of the country, police and communities together. You want to raise this issue at the next Pact meeting to make sure people are aware of the issues and what's going on, but also to ask for people solutions. Quite often, diversion can also come from the community, not from just agencies. The environment. In the longer term, in time-honoured fashion, look to the council. Is there sufficient lighting? Is there CCTV in the area? If it's going to be a longer term problem, we might need to look to the council to look in bringing in solutions of that nature. We talked earlier about contacting traders. Hopefully there's a traders association. If so, we want to have more contact with it. If there isn't a traders association, we might want to work with the council to encourage one being developed. It's useful being able to group these traders together because it helps us to have contact with them as a group, but also very often they can mutually support each other. Now we're also going to want to discuss the next steps. You will score highly if you can show your thinking goes well beyond the 5 minutes of the scenario. Yes, you've discussed the long term, but think around what the next steps tangibly are for you as the candidate. Well, you'll be wanting to make sure that there's improved police contact and the beat officer is making contact regularly. You want to make sure that's happening within the next week. You'll also want to make sure that you as a candidate are meeting with the role actor, this concerned trader, and in this case a period of 1 month in order to be able to review progress in terms of the solutions plan is a relevant one. At this stage you should be thinking around what is the success criteria you're trying to achieve. You set yourself a mission at the start of the scenario. You should be thinking around how do we both agree that success has been achieved. Yes, you might be thinking around we've got young people not hanging around causing problems. We might be thinking about having less calls there and less times when the traders feel concerned. But success might also be in terms of encouraging older residents back out of isolation to using those traders in the future in the evening. That might be the agreement that you have. And if you think about it, if we both agree that is a criteria, that encourages you to do more than investigate the crime, to put out the odd media release. It really will help you focus on community contact. That's why sharing goals is not just a challenge for us, but it's also a way of helping us be motivated to undertake certain actions which might not be the most primary incidents in the first instance. And at this stage also, I'd be wanting to speak to the role actor and saying, do you understand the plan that I've laid out? Do you agree with the plan? What ideas do you have? 3 simple questions which may give you more information back, which you can use and increase. If the trader's got an idea, if you can adapt it, do so. But if they haven't got any ideas, then at least you've asked.